asked who is more to blame for the shutdown, 31% said the president, while 53% said Republicans in Congress, and 13% said they hold equal blame. Meanwhile, voters gave the Republican Party its lowest numbers in the history of Wall Street Journal polling, which dates to 1989, with more than twice as many people holding a negative view of the GOP as a positive one.
This says some new polls came out. We told you earlier about the AP, the Associated Press poll. Just to put it in context here, the president's approval rating back in April and now, that came out earlier this week. And a new poll, the Wall Street Journal NBC poll, who is more to blame for the shutdown? President Obama, 31%, Republicans in Congress, 53%. There you see the rest. A lot of people have asked, what's the breakdown of this poll in parties, self-identified breakdown, and this is how that poll breaks down. Democrat 43%, Republican 32%, Independent 23%, and you see the rest. Charles, what about where things stand with Republicans now and what's happening next?
Republicans have two cards, which is the shutdown of the government and the debt ceiling. What's clear is that the first card is worth nothing. In fact, it's really hurt the Republicans. You can see it in the polls, transient or not. When the country is blaming the Republicans by more than 22 points over the president, you've got a problem. And the other shocking number was that when they asked people how favorably they look at the parties, the Democrats have about an even, favorable and unfavorable. The Republicans are underwater by 30 points. That is a catastrophe. Now, and that is directly as a result of the shutdown. It wasn't only predictable, it was predicted. It was obvious it was going to happen, and it did. The trump card that Republicans have, and what's moving the president, is not so much the sequester, I would argue, but it's the debt ceiling. It's the one thing he cannot allow to happen because he's in charge of the economy, and it would wreck it. And that's the leverage that the House has, and that's why the president is in negotiating, even though he pretends not to, because he has to. It's going to be there on Thursday. The Republicans should stick to a very short extension, push him on entitlements and tax reform, and they might even get a token gesture on Obamacare. But that's where the money is, and that's where the leverage is. But yes, and the question is, which poll number that came out this week was the most shocking? And I have to say, I hate to admit this, but one stumbled upon this truth.
Well,
staggered upon
even a
truth.
blind squirrel.
A phrase I would never use in this context. No, but one actually mentioned it in what you found in the Wall Street Journal poll, which showed that Obamacare, the support for Obamacare, had increased by 8 points since last month. And this coincides with the worst rollout since New Coke or the new Miley Cyrus, which would otherwise have been the news, the only news you would have heard, including late into the night with the comics. So it got kind of stepped on, and this reversal is one of the shocking results of a very unfortunate tactic that Republicans had chosen in the shutdown.
Let me write that. For these conservatives, they are hitting home runs.
That is true, but they are claiming to speak, you'll hear it in all their speeches, on behalf of the American people. And the only way that we can measure that, in some way scientifically, is either with elections or with polls. Well, the polls are in, and the numbers who support the tactic that these gentlemen have chosen is rather low. So I do think that contradicts the idea that somehow we are insulated, have no idea what's going on out there. The real test is objective information, empirical data. It's in. It came in today. The results are in.
One poll.
We had one poll. We've got AP. You've got everything that shows you that even though the two sides have been hurt, one side has been hurt a lot more. And in a country where every seat is allocated in the Congress to one party or the other, even if you're hurt, if the other guy's hurt more, you win.
That is